welcome to Making Awesome Chapter 31. It's just a two-piece today. It's Thomas and I, and we're going to hang out and talk about small business. But before we get too far into that, Thomas, let's have you introduce yourself so that people know who you are, what you do, because we got a lot of new viewers, and it's kind of cool to do that every episode.
Yeah, why the heck not? Hey everybody, I'm Thomas. I'm a graphic designer and animator. That's kind of my jam in general. I do marketing collateral, which is just making marketing materials a lot of the time. And, anything ranging from like logos to video editing. Um, I worked at I've worked at NBC. I've worked doing graphic design and animation for Lockheed Martin and a bunch of other people. So just kind of around. And I'm the father of the 3DM brand, the new one, the blue one.
The blue one.
The one that you've seen. Yeah.
Not the old so what you're saying is you didn't like the old one that was all gray and black and a little gold. You didn't like that?
Yeah, the one that made you look like you were architects.
Shh. It definitely wasn't an architect pack from Divi. In my defense, when I built that website, we were going after architects and we were active in the American Institute of Architects, so...
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's fine. Yeah, so...
And I guess my name's Grant. I am the one that's responsible when things go wrong, and Thomas is part of the team that is responsible when everything goes right here at 3D Musketeers. I'm the owner, so if you get a printed part from us, it's going to be handled by me. And if you email us, and if you're looking to make awesome, you can email us. We'll have all those links in the description, and you'll be able to reach out to me directly. So if you're like, well, he probably just has a shop lackey doing it. I know there are a few of you subscribers out there that have emailed and called our bluff, and then when I responded, you all thought it was pretty cool. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Actually, it's a lot of fun to talk to the subscribers. It was so much fun. When they say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for all the content, I'm like, it makes all these late nights, early mornings, lack of sleep, and all this added work already on top of a 16-plus hour day that I was running before content worth it. So, this chapter is all about small business because we know a lot of you out there are crafters, are makers, and are looking to... I guess we should start because my brother said it last episode. Every time I say level up, if you got a drink, take a shot. And if you're under the age of 18, don't worry about it. Or
Juice.
21. Crap. 21. Don't worry about it.
21.
18 in some areas.
I'll get into, dumb. But,
but
I think this will actually be interesting because our perspectives are completely, we both have technically owned businesses. Grant more so on a larger scale, so he's far more adept at this than I am. But
I don't know about that, but
my level of owning a business is, self-employed, single person. I am
1099 independent contractor stuff, right?
Into doing independent contracting and selling my own work straight.
That's fair.
As an artist and maker and everything.
What do you do? Because I know there's one big thing that you do that's really cool. And we like it, and I know a lot of our viewers have no idea what that is.
I still do them. They just, it dies down.
Waxes and wanes.
Yeah, but no, I just started drawing dogs and cats for people, and that was it. Just did commission work for drawing, and made stickers out of them a lot of the time. The thing about the way that I ran any of my business stuff is I'm a designer, not necessarily. I don't have a lot of the equipment to make my own stuff in-house, so I outsource it. And so I don't make a lot of money on any product. I make my money upfront on design, and then the money that I make off of I use Redbubble specifically because it's easy. Not that it's the best.
No,
it isn't. But a lot of those sites aren't the best, and it's hard to find one that will really It's hard to find one that'll really do any better. I've looked, but you can make stickers in-house and everything. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people that are watching this know how and are crafters and things, and then it's just you're putting more upfront on shipping and packaging and all that. I know a lot of artists on Twitter that do that kind of stuff. It's just not my cup of tea. I like doing the drawing part of it, not the other
there's
side.
So much overhead, and I guess that'll bring us right into it. But before, let's hit that billing department, because boy, it sucks to make content when you're not making any money. So let me make sure that we do the shameless plugs. If you are looking to make awesome, if you are a crafter, a maker, and you are looking to level up, you can reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. Links will be in the description. And if you are watching on YouTube, while you're down there, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and leave us a like. It helps us immensely, because we know that you like it, and we appreciate the support. And if you're on Spotify, iTunes, wherever listening audio only, make sure you subscribe to that RSS feed. And if you're on Apple, 5-star review helps us out immensely to get this out into the radio waves of the internet and stuff. But yes, let's talk about overhead, because we were just moving into that. And the big reason you didn't want to do all the sticker work in-house is because, well, it's effing expensive to do it.
It can be scary at first. And that's to say, like, it's not because I've never done it. I've hand printed t-shirts, and I did a whole run of probably, like, it was a small run in the grand scheme. I don't know. I made like 50 shirts or something like that.
That's not bad. Geez.
All hand done, which takes a long time. Multiple prints on the same shirt, just screen printing kind of stuff. And the hard thing to get over is the money that you spend up front on that kind of stuff, because I had to order a big box of blank t-shirts, which was my main, and ink, which was my main cost, like directly up front to do this. And it was like a couple $100 probably. You can get t-shirts pretty cheap, but when you're ordering a ton of them, it gets expensive fast. But then the thing is, like, then you just price it out, right? Then you just make sure that you are making money off of every t-shirt that you sell, and hopefully you end up selling most of them. So I ended up making money, but the good thing was I was also only selling the shirts locally. I didn't ship, I didn't advertise. I was just selling, to people around me. So there was not any upfront cost on that or any extra work there.
And that can save a lot of overhead, because, well, shipping is not guaranteed. And even when it is, it gets very expensive. That's tough, right? And we've got some local companies that we work with when we want to do big runs of things, and they're not much more affordable than like your sticker mule. But the difference is sticker mule is doing tens of millions a day. We would much rather work with a small company. And so, yeah, it makes more sense for us. Even though we have to pay a little bit more, we get that one-on-one experience with the customer, or with the client. Well, no, with the business, I guess, that a lot of people prefer, right? So how do you differentiate when you're looking to create this small business? You know what, before we get into differentiation, let's talk about making the freaking small business first, right? If you use Etsy, if you're using Facebook Marketplace, a lot of those places will give you a W-9. So you don't need to incorporate, but you should. Here's why. Liability. Liability is the reason that you should incorporate, and you should look at doing it with more than one person, at least in the state of Florida. So I'm in the state of Florida, so I know a lot of the rules and regulations here in the state of Florida. And I guess I have 2 business degrees, so I've been through business school. You don't necessarily have to listen to me, but, I don't know everything, but I'm better than
We're going to play 2 sides of a coin here, where Grant's the one that knows a lot about business and runs a business, and I'm the one that knows absolutely nothing about business and ran a business.
But see, so I know nothing about marketing, which is one of the big things here. I know nothing about it, clearly. And if you disagree with me, go look at 3D Musketeers' marketing from like 2017. and then come back. I won't even link that. I'm not going to link it in the description, because I don't want to do that.
Someone can try and find it.
Oh, by the way, and I should have said this before we started recording, but I had to do it last time. Can we like write down timestamps for stuff?
Oh yeah,
We
probably.
should probably do that. We are at minute 10, like right on
Yeah.
the money, minute 10. So that works
Cool.
out perfect. Last episode had to do it too, but I remembered it earlier this time. But yeah, it's kind of crazy for setting up a business. In Florida, it's stupid easy. It's Sunbiz. You just incorporate it as an LLC. If you do an LLC as one person, it is taken as a sole proprietorship, which means you lose all of your protections that you would get out of an LLC. That's why most people do LLCs, because if you sue, they can't touch your personal assets. They can only touch the assets of the company, which, if you do it correctly, is very little or none, right? So if you do a sole proprietorship, and let's say you do a big order of stickers for someone that is doing marketing, and something is wrong, whether the stickers don't come out right, you made a mistake, whatever it might be, it's America, they're likely going to get a lawyer. Well, that lawyer, if it's a sole proprietorship, can come after everything you own. That includes a house, a car, multiple houses, multiple cars, and they can garnish wages. And let me be clear about that. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. You want to have protection. Always use protection, even in business. And that's kind of a goal, right? Because if you do get sued and you have very little assets in the company, fold it. Start another company. It's easy to do. It's there for a reason. That's why a lot of people will have one company called the umbrella company, right, that oversees operations of smaller LLCs, right? Then that way they can fold an LLC and that thing goes away if there's ever a problem, but the main overarching business itself stays there. And let's say you're tied to your name, and let's say for choice and purposes it is 3D Musketeers LLC. Cool. You have a great company name. Love that name. Don't know why I love that name so much, but we love that name. And you get sued, and you're forced to shut down. You can start another company with a completely different name and just do what's called a DBA, doing business as 3D Musketeers. It's totally fine, because the old 3D Musketeers LLC ceases to exist. But you must update your records to show that, and sometimes it even requires a public declaration. So you have to take an ad out in the newspaper or something. It's kind of funny the way that stuff works. So check your local laws and listings. And if you don't know and you're still not sure, there are a lot of attorneys that will give a 15 or 30-minute consultation totally free. Take advantage of that. And if you have to pay a couple $100 to get an attorney, that's fine. I want to be very clear in partnering with somebody, whether that's your spouse, a friend. Make sure that you have documentation in place, that it is written by a lawyer. It includes something like a shotgun clause. If someone says, I don't like you, I want to buy you out, you have the opportunity to say, great, here's all the money for you, get out of my company. It's called a shotgun clause. And it's kind of weird, but that's the way things go. If you are the main owner of the company and you're doing all the work, make sure you maintain 51%, because that way you have a majority in what's going on too, right?
Yeah, and I mean, all this being said too, I think what it also comes down to is
Trust.
in my situation, I never incorporated. I never did
Right.
any of that, because I also felt look, the work that I was doing, the fact that I would ever get sued for whatever I was making,
Very, very low.
very low.
Yeah.
And that was not something that ever came up in my mind as some kind of grand risk. I think if and when I was actually planning to incorporate going into this year, or at least get an LLC, just for, all those reasons and more, whatever. But I think it was actually nice for me to understand that I could just, the thing that's crazy about having a business was the fact that I just kind of, it just happened. It didn't just, I didn't decide one day that I was going to have a business. I didn't sit down
That's how it goes
just
for most
one
people,
day.
though.
And I mean, it just kind of showed up, right? I mean,
Yep.
people are willing to pay for something that I was making, and I just rolled with it, and it just happened, which is great. And I did that for a year of making design and doing design as a freelance contractor. And I mean, that's different than selling product or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, if that kind of stuff seems like too much or it seems intimidating to you at first, just give it a shot. Like just screw all that for a second and just focus on being like, well, what if I could sell the work that I'm making and just see what happens, see how it goes. It might turn out better than you think, or it might not. And then you didn't incorporate too early. And it never hurts to because it's very cheap to get an LLC
Oh yeah,
in
and the
most
renewal fees are
circumstances.
low.
But, if that's something that you don't want to do, just don't.
And that's fair. Just understand the
The
risk
risk.
that you're taking. And for a lot of us out there, that risk is very low. But for 3D Musketeers, we needed to incorporate, we needed to have an LLC because some of the work that we do comes with relatively high price tags. I wish more of it did.
If and yeah, that's another thing. Like all of
Yeah.
the work that I was doing, while it was, I mean, and my case is a little different, I guess. I don't know how many people who are watching this would be doing work the way that I was because I contracted. So, company would hire me to accomplish a certain set out goal that was in a contract. And we would have a signed contract that said, this is the work, the scope of the work that will get done for this much money. Here's the terms, everyone signs. But if you're selling product, no one's signing contracts.
Right.
So I think that's also a different thing. Also, didn't know this, but in certain situations, it's not bulletproof by any means, and you should never rely on this. But people's written word, if it can be proved that it was them who wrote it, even typed out in an email, can be binding in terms
Oh yeah,
of
emails are
contractual
absolutely binding.
agreements. So, if you are contracting and you ever get mega screwed over by someone who didn't pay you or something, and they said they were going to pay you in another email, you can use that if you ever needed to. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that would get really complicated with that, but that
That'd
is
be a
a thing.
great topic for a podcast though, where we bring on like a contract attorney to talk about it, and we talk about the times that we've been like hella screwed. I have been screwed in business. How many thousands of? It's probably well over $15,000 of people that have gotten work from us and not paid for it. People that have disappeared. People that
When
have done
when you've got,
chargebacks.
I think it's interesting because it's also like it's weird, right? I think when you're selling a product though, which I think a lot of people who are watching this would be doing
Yeah,
more
a
of,
lot of people
is
here are
like selling
product.
directly product, whereas in certain cases we're working with a client and it's like a relationship that is also the whole like scope of it is larger and there's more money involved, which is a
Yep.
little of a different situation. I think a lot of people that are just selling work on Etsy and stuff don't even worry about any of this. They worry about getting the thing done, shipped, and you know all of that. And typically in that situation, I mean, there's, I'm pretty sure Etsy actually has some amount of like agreement when you're using Etsy um, between buyer and
Yes.
seller that protects you.
Generally,
Um,
yes. I mean, Etsy being such a big company, they should have it. But it's good to have something as well where,
mhm.
one, do not make anything before you get paid. Even if it's
Oh
a
yeah,
50-50, do not. Like, there were so. God, I look back and say, how dumb was I? The answer is very. And how dumb am I now? A little bit less. But even if they're long-term customers, does not matter. We had a very long-term customer that we had done, God, near $120,000 with over the course of a few years, just up and ghost us on a really big project.
if
It
if you can
sucks.
if you can swing it, and again, it's weird because my experience is less about selling products straight, which I have done, and
Mm-hmm.
more about contract. However, if you happen to find yourself in a situation, and this does happen, even if you mostly sell a single product on Etsy that just gets shipped out when it's there and you give it to people, whatever, um, the a thing to do is either get paid in full upfront for the thing that you're giving someone. But if you're doing a contract for someone, which is like, oh, I make like quilts, and I sell quilts on Etsy that are just already made because I've made them and someone will buy the quilt that I've now advertised on Etsy. Cool. That's great. And that's, you'll get paid for that.
Yep.
However, if someone commissions you for a quilt, which is a completely different ball game, you're now making that for that person. And if it's custom and all of that, it's a whole different situation. Get paid half upfront and half on completion of your project. And that's how I did it because that's
Yep.
assurance for me. And also in that case, there's a little bit of protection and comfort for both parties. And it's nice because you get enough money to start your project and pay for whatever you need upfront and or just pay yourself.
That should
And
be the
they
goal.
know,
That first 50 should be
yes,
all your expenses. So if they don't pay that last 50, you're not left with money in the hole.
and you can even do more upfront. I've seen people charge more as start fees. Mine was 50-50 personally.
Or just raise your rates to cover it.
Or just raise your rate. Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. We're going to cover that here too, but that's
Yeah.
going to be a completely separate video that we do as well on this channel talking about money. Because I yelled at someone again last night about this. Like, guys, charge more. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, everyone should charge more. But, and then it also gives your buyer a little bit of assurance because what if something goes super wrong in their life?
Mm-hmm.
They have to stop the quilt project. And so they stop it. And it's written in your contract terms that that's okay. And it sucks, but you didn't lose money, right? You didn't get screwed by somebody. And the thing is, a lot of the times people will actually pick up that stuff later, and you might get paid just way later down the road to finish it.
That's fair.
But don't ever ship it until you get paid. Get paid in full. And don't be a dick also. You have to be a nice business owner too.
And that's customer service matters so much, and unfortunately Etsy is kind of driving this idea of suicidal race to the bottom, and if you are the cheapest you will survive, and honestly it's bullshit. I hate this because what happens is everyone is forced to work below what the cheapest person is willing to do, or you have to differentiate somehow. So Thomas, what is a good way to differentiate on platforms like Etsy and Facebook Marketplace? Because let's be real, that's where like 95% of people are going to start, right? Not everyone has the ability to do a full custom website. It's very expensive. And Thomas, you know best. It is incredibly time consuming if you don't know what you're doing, right? Because the first time I did it, it took me 20 plus hours to do our website. How many hours did you have in the website total?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe similar.
You had at least 10. I know that.
At the very least.
And there was still more work to do because there was stuff that you and I were like, I don't know what to do. We know it was wrong, but we had no idea how to fix it, which was very frustrating.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're just starting, a Squarespace or Wix is much... You know what? No, I hate Wix. Squarespace. It may not be a bad move.
Wix is ickier than Squarespace for sure.
They're both kind of icky.
I use Squarespace. Thanks, Squarespace.
Not sponsored.
I use Squarespace.
We want Prusa money. Damn it. Honestly, you know what? If Squarespace or Wix wants to sponsor us, I would give an honest opinion about building a website in there because I've never used them. Because back when 3D Musketeers started, Squarespace and Wix were not that... I don't think Wix was even out.
It might have been.
But
early Wix was bad, though.
Yeah, they were so early that WordPress was really what, like, 99% of people did. But now there are all these WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. It's the acronym for what you see is what you get. Now there are all these WYSIWYG builders out there. It does make doing this a whole lot easier. And don't be afraid, right? Don't be afraid of making your own website. Make sure you have a Facebook page, right? So if you're doing this as even if it's a side hustle, make a name, make a Facebook page for it. You can always change the name later on. That's no big deal, but make that Facebook page so you can separate your personal from your business. Still comment on things your personal page, still comment on things with your business page, but make sure that you separate things, right? When you go to the 3D Musketeers Facebook page, which if you haven't been there, you should, and you should like us. Is that what you do on Facebook? I think you like on Facebook, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And follow us there. You'll see that it's mostly the company responding, but ultimately it's myself, sometimes it's Thomas, sometimes it's Peter, responding to people, because that's what we do. But every now and then I will go and I'll share a few videos from the company's page to my personal page, because, well, I've got more followers there, which is a shame, because all my followers should be following the company. They don't. Oh well. And be ready for that, right? And your products. Let's look at differentiating on products. If you are making the same stuff that like 3 other people in your area are doing, you need to differentiate. And whether it's you live by Disney and you want to do stuff that is going to potentially get you a cease and desist, don't mess with the mouse. There are so many things that you could do and get away with. The mouse is not one of them that you want to mess with personally.
I'll be the first one to say that I've definitely straddled the line of cease and desist before. Have I told you about what I did?
I don't think so. Tell us. Remember, we're recording this, so whatever you're saying is on record.
I'm not worried about it. It's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
I printed like a line of shirts that were basically altered versions of Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour.
Yes, you told me about this, but keep going.
Mhm. Yeah, and the brand was called Cease and Desist because my professor at the time told me that I was going to get a cease and desist for it. And so that was the name of the company. So yep.
you played the perfect level of malicious compliance.
Yeah. Yep. And it was fine.
We've actually received a few cease and desists in our day. None of them were our fault. They were all from customers. The most notable one was the Horse Soldier Bourbon Company, and I'm going to call them out because this is their fault and I just don't care. We were tasked with taking the Horse Soldier Bourbon mascot, which is the Horse Soldier, taking it from a 12-inch model and making it smaller, like 8 or 10 inches, so that in store they could have displays with one of those models, so that when you walked into to a liquor store, you knew that they carried Horse Soldier Bourbon because it was right there. Well, the Horse Soldier statue is large. And it's actually at the 9/11 Memorial site in New York. There's one there. There were a run of them that were smaller at 12 inches. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If they've done a full size, it's actually 1.25, so it's 125% scales. Everybody's huge. And they've done a 12-inch model. A 3D model for this already exists. And we can save them a ton of money by not reverse engineering it and reach out to people. So that's what we did. I started figuring out who the lead artist was. It was Dow Bloomberg, I think. I'm going to find it. But, yep, Dow Bloomberg was the actual sculptor. And I called him. I actually got a hold of this world-renowned sculptor. And we ended up getting a cease and desist out of it because Dow was unaware that this was happening. And while the gentlemen of the Horse Soldier Bourbon Company are actually the ones depicted in the sculpture, they under no circumstances had the rights of reproduction. None of us knew that. I didn't know it. We were not contracted by the company. There was an intermediary that contracted us. The intermediary had no idea. The next day, the project was canceled, and we all got cease and desist letters, and ours is a little bit special. Normally, cease and desist is very much, hey, cut it out, don't do this anymore. But this one was special. It had a thing at the bottom that said, you know, the artist recognizes the financial impact on your company and sincerely apologizes, but it is just business. And you know what? It hurt because it was like a $5,000 job that just evaporated overnight. But it made me feel better because ultimately we did what was right and what we should have done. which was fine the artist, because ultimately it would have saved everybody a ton of money. Because that's what we do, right? We're not just here to take people's money. I know, weird. Because ultimately we want to help you get to that step. And if let's say you're trying to make an electronic gadget, a lot of people are. A lot of people have ideas for electronic gadgets. Don't just say you want to make a custom. Try to find off-the-shelf solutions that fit, and eventually it becomes time to make it custom. Now is not that time. You start with your minimum viable product. And that's what we do to help everybody out. So yeah, that one kind of hurt, but I think it was valuable. It was a valuable learning lesson for us, because thankfully we didn't start production on it. Because had we started, now we would have been out an actual large sum of money. So it hurt, but it wasn't, a game ender. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. So be careful about licensing. I mean, we just talked about this in the past couple of weeks with Lulzbot and Printed Solid and licensing and giving attribution. So be careful. Don't steal stuff. Don't be a jerk, right? But you do need to make sure that you're looking different from other people.
The general rule with like fan art and stuff is, as long as you're not negatively impacting the sales of the company that you're using the assets and the intellectual property of, then you can make things and sell them. It's just but it's always hairy and gray. I don't make fan art. I don't make anything using other assets except that one time. And yeah, just a whole thing.
Give attribution.
And give attribution. Yeah. But I think going back to the whole differentiate yourself thing. I mean, like, just
you could offer
this is always a thing.
Colors or multiple colors, or
just make what you want to make.
That's
100%, and make it the way that you want to make it. And that's a lot. I mean, like, everyone's so individual, and just I think another way to differentiate yourself and also get yourself noticed is, again, this is like a huge thing I got to hammer home, is just like be unapologetic about it. If you like doing it, tell your friends, tell your family, tell like everyone that you know that you're doing that. And a lot of the time people will come out of the woodwork to support you, you know?
What about the marketing side, right? So let's take a look at this. If you have local competition, chances are they may not be good at marketing. If they are, see what works. Look at competition both locally, and locally being, 20-mile radius. Look at, like, the closest big city, see what they have for competition. See what they do that works, right? There are programs out there that let you see analytics from other people. Now, there's not going to give you all of it, but it might say, hey, this video had, 600 likes, 2,000 dislikes. Well, that one probably didn't do all that well. But funny enough, YouTube cares about the like and dislikes. They don't care about which one it was. They care about that interaction. So look at that. Use everything that you can. It's not cheating. It's utilizing the data that is in front of you. And don't be afraid to copy things that work. And that's a style, right? So a marketing style that works, don't be afraid to copy it, right? There's nothing wrong with two people doing the same damn thing. I promise you, if no one could copy things, Unbox Therapy would be out of business.
It's also just how you learn.
Right. Learn by doing. And don't ever do this what if. No. That's quitter talk. Are you a quitter? No. You're probably not a quitter. But do understand, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Right? Understand, if it ain't working, it's time to try something different.
Yeah.
And keep going going.
And I think at a small scale, marketing is like such a big word for such a weirdly big sounding thing. Marketing just means just be you, be nice, be active, post about what you do and why you do it. People love seeing behind the scenes stuff.
And listen,
so if you're making things, show how you make it, just be present,
Yep.
and be active within the community that you've kind of
We
are a
probably
part
need
of.
to do more of that. And I don't know how we could, but we probably need to do more of that behind the scenes stuff. We are planning a live stream coming up, which is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be, I think, next Wednesday is the plan. Or if I need to get the date, because I say next Wednesday. Depends on when you're actually watching it. I'm thinking Wednesday, the 21st of April, might be a good day. Let me just go in my calendar and make sure I actually have that Wednesday evening available, which would be hilarious if I don't. Yeah, I should. So that's... I like the, hey, let's, talk about the insider stuff. I just don't know, and see, it's something that I struggle with right here, right now. I don't know what I could do that's all that interesting to show what we're doing that doesn't also show off non-disclosure stuff. However, if you have products that aren't under a non-disclosure, photos,
Probably do.
Photos.
You most certainly have stuff that is not under an NDA.
Right now, we really don't.
Just take a lot of photos of stuff. Why not? People like to see it. It's like the whole thing of it's demystifying, or maybe it even makes it more special when people see how you're doing what you do. It's how it is. I love watching people make stuff. I almost like that more than final products sometimes. It's why Adam Savage has such a popular YouTube channel.
Oh God, his channel is great though.
And everyone just has all this work that they're showing you how things are done or how they do it,
And the production value. And we talked about this internally. I don't know if we ever talked about this externally. Your production value is not always that important. Now, understand, we try to have a pretty good production value, but that's because I'm persnickety and I'm a perfectionist for this kind of stuff, and I want it to be right. But realize you can slam edit stuff and just do very quick, jump cuts, which you can use DaVinci Resolve for, and there's a free version of it that should probably do everything that you need. There are other free editing programs. There's one that's completely open source that I want to try. But if I'm going to do it, I actually want to do it live so we can show people how it works and some of the dumb things that I get stuck on. I don't know. That one might be fun. If you want to see that, let me know.
I talk about this all the fucking time. Content is the first thing that you should always be concerned with. I don't care if your camera sucks even. You probably don't. If you have a phone, your camera's probably pretty good.
It's true.
People get so caught up with oh man, I need equipment and I need it to sound a certain way and I need it to look a certain way and oh wow, I need
all of that.
editing and I need all this stuff, but you fucking don't, because buying stuff isn't going to make people like your content anymore. There's none of that will ever make you successful. Buying stuff to make content look, sound, and be better is not going to make your content be any better than it already is. If what you're posting isn't interesting and doesn't grab people and isn't authentic, no one will watch it, period. 100% flat, no one cares.
But here's the deal, right? Don't use one video as a metric. Because we went from 50 subscribers on YouTube to over 800 in a week and a half. Thanks, Cricket, for screwing your user base and helping us out in the process. That's the best thing Cricket has ever done. Just help us. If you came here from the Cricket content, we want to know, because I know a lot of you did. And it took our demographic from 90% male to now almost 80% female. And the age ranges have changed. And that's cool, because now we have this huge opportunity to look at new things. But I tell you, man, it took our content schedule and just kneecapped it, because we could not continue to do that same content. Right? Talking about industry updates and all that is not interesting to our new user base because they don't get it. So we need to do content that brings them up. So look at who's watching your videos. That's why we're doing all these new, how-to stuff. One, I love teaching. I would love to be a teacher. It's not about the money. It's about the respect. All you teachers out there that put up with the fact that students don't respect as much as they should, and the parents certainly don't, God bless you, because I could not do it. I'd be the one that says, yeah, I want to go to a school where we can, actually punish children for acting like shitheads, because they should be. and not just have to kind of, little Timmy, now you can't bite your classmates. No, send Timmy home. Anyways, that's a diatribe I'm going to get into another day.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, adapting is good, right?
yeah,
I
how
mean,
do you know when to adapt? How often should you be adapting? For us, we had to adapt overnight, and there's nothing wrong with that. Quite frankly, I'm kind of happy. As much as industry updates are fun, they're nowhere near as fun as like scheduling live streams with people and doing this, because it's like so much fun for me to be able to get involved with the community and listen. And I want to, real quick before we go into how to change, well, this is kind of about changing. Listen to people that tell you things. On the first Lulzbot video, I got rolled over some hot coals in some of the maker groups that I'm a part of, saying this is fake outrage. Some of it is because they don't know me. I am as animated as you think, because I'm passionate. But they all think it's fake. So whether it's fake or not is irrelevant. If the people watching your videos think it's fake, fix it. So what did we do? The update video, not only did we dial it back, but I referenced the fact that we're dialing it back now because that's what people want. And our goal as content creators, and your goal as a content creator, is to listen to the users, watch the analytics, see what happens. We have some videos like YouTube Shorts that will get hundreds of views, then none. Another day goes by, another 300 or 400 views, and then none. So we figure out when the best time they perform, and you modify. If you are not constantly changing what you're doing, you're not doing it right, because you're not looking at the metrics. So how often should someone be looking at modifying the way they're doing things, especially if you're just starting off, right? If you're doing an Instagram and a Facebook page and you've got nobody, first off, invite your friends and family. But how do you build that traction? How do you know if you're interesting or you just have crappy marketing? What do you think?
oh man.
Because, like,
I mean,
ostensibly,
well,
I am clearly interesting, but I had crappy marketing.
you'll get, I mean, it's hard, right? I mean, again, all it comes down to for me, especially if you're really small, is just authenticity.
Yep.
That's like the most important thing. I honestly, even if, I mean, yeah, you should be looking at stuff and you should be looking at trends and you should see what other people are doing that's successful and you should be able to compare it to yours.
Yep.
And if it's not close or it's not working for whatever reason, then adapt, copy, do something that someone else is doing. Change. I mean, ideally, you're changing every single day to try and improve your posts or do more or do better ones. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. But like, just be authentic. People want authenticity. Like, we got too much canned stuff in the world,
and people can see right through bullshit, like straight through it. You know, and they'll call you a shill if you're acting like a corporate shill. You know, if you're doing sponsored posts, make sure that you're saying it, one, because that'd be violating FTC rules, and two, it's just being a dick. You know, I just put a new lumbar thing on this chair, and it's very different for me. So I apologize if I'm moving a lot more than normal. I'm trying to get comfortable. My back is getting worse, so getting comfortable has been very tough lately. But yes, authenticity matters. And I think that's what made the Grant rant so good, that I was authentic. But apparently a lot of people think that I wasn't. And so, well, I have to kind of dial back the authenticity. I'm still being authentic, but I'm not clipping out my microphone as often, right? And look at channels on YouTube that have millions of subscribers. Look at the videos that you're watching. Look at the people that you're following that have huge followings, but very clearly are low budget. We decided to get editors. We decided to get gear because, well, one, I wanted to. Two, it's a write-off. Three, I can't edit, and the amount of time that it's going to take me to learn how to edit is more time than I have left in the day. We have an established business that takes up a lot of my time already. And I've been utilizing some of my more open and available time to learn some basic editing. So that, let's say our editors are unavailable, or we need to get something up fast, or my cat happens to fall out of this bed and into a trash can, which, if you all are really nice, we'll add that at the end of one of our videos, because it totally happened when I was filming an update, and I never did end up filming that update because it derailed me so much, and I ended up having to go into more meetings that I never finished that video. But it was COVID-19 and its impacts on the 3D printing industry, which I think is a cool video no matter what. But yeah, she was here, rolled off, almost fell into... Anyways.
I think, again, the thing is, like, also it's like, set reasonable expectations for what you're doing. I mean,
yeah,
you don't even need the scale of, like, the most popular people. It shouldn't always be who you're looking at. Sure, they're effective and they're doing it right, but, like, trying to compare yourself to someone who has millions of subscribers on YouTube or millions of followers on Instagram is completely insane, because those people now have budgets and it's their full-time jobs a lot of the time, which is an unrealistic expectation for your own content and your own production. So that's not something.
I have unrealistic expectations, and it is such a problem.
But it's like it's also just a, keep it at scale.
Yeah.
You don't even need that a lot of the time. What you should be focusing on
Put it
all
out
the
there
time,
to show it off.
what you should be focusing on all the time is the authenticity of your content and your product, and the fact that that's coming through, and if that's selling more stuff, to make sure that you're making money. Because you need to get paid at the end of the day to be able to keep doing this thing.
Paid.
So just be real, honest, transparent, authentic, and just do it that way, and stop, followers, likes, everything that matters, and do your best to try and get those, but don't buy it. Don't fish for it. That's annoying. Just, let it happen. And also, don't start to expect that, you're just going to become an influencer or something, because that's also probably at the end of the day.
You're not going to, statistically speaking.
Well, you're not going to. Two, you could. Even if you gain a substantial following, maybe that's not even translating into any profit for you. So what's the point? At the end of the day, what you want to do with this, if you're doing some sort of business, because that's a whole different game, right? Being an influencer is it's a business of its own. And so if you want to do that, put your time into that as a maker, rather than...
That's a lot of time, by the way. More time than you think.
Well, look at even some of our friends in this maker space, right? Let's look at Geeky Faye for a second. Her business, as far as I understand, is making video and content, and she makes things for videos, and she makes things in her own time that become videos.
Yep.
And everything that she does is surrounded by the fact that she's creating content out of it. And so she's very much a maker. She does sell some product with things that she does make, but the most of the time that I can tell is spent towards making posts, making YouTube videos, and interacting with people. And that's what she does, right? And that's why she has followers. That's why she does well for herself in that way. But if you are trying to sell your quilts, you don't need all that. That's not the kind of work that you should be putting into this. Just post an update of maybe a little time lapse of you making a quilt. But you don't need to be this upfront in the camera, doing all this stuff. It's all of that's so extra. You just don't need it, right? Because at the end of the day, you're just trying to get enough people to look at you so that you can sell some stuff.
Yep.
So that you can make enough money to keep going, because that's your focus. Your focus isn't to be an influencer. And if it happens because you like to do that stuff, you can either decide to go that route or just keep doing it the way you want.
Right? We said, F it, we're doing it. When a channel grows 15x in a week and a half, clearly something is going right. And I know a lot of it's the content, but we were not the only channel that was doing this. We got a huge bump from the Sewing Report, which I am incredibly grateful for them recognizing us. But I think a lot of you stayed because, well, you liked my unapologetic videos, right? Because I've got nothing to gain or lose by a lot of these videos because, well, it's the way that it is. And you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
And
I
it,
I
it,
think before we tangent off more, I just had one last
go ahead,
thought.
go ahead.
And it's if you want, just focus on what you want to do as a business.
Yep.
Because like I just said, um, marketing is specific to what you're doing, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to influencers for marketing, because an influencer's job is marketing effectively. And their job in that space is to optimize, to watch trends and be part of those trends, to like track the analytics, to get good at all of that stuff, because that's what they're doing full time a lot of the time when they're up in those higher tiers of people. And sometimes they even have teams. Those are not the people you should compare yourself to, and they are not the standard that should be set for you. Look at people doing the same thing as you, because if you want to be an influencer, put your hours into that. Screw the other stuff. Make
Yep.
some stuff on the side, but make it with the intent of making content out of it.
I
But
want to bring up something
yeah,
called the imposter syndrome. Now, I'm reading a book about it. It's called If I'm So Successful, Why Do I Feel Like a Fake? The Imposter Phenomenon. And TLDR on the imposter issue, it's you're comparing yourself to the massive influencers in your industry, right? You know, you crafters and makers, if you're comparing yourselves to Auntie Tay, you can't do that, right? She has a team of people. She has been doing this for years. She's got well over 100,000 subscribers. You can't compare yourself to Ken's Creations. You can't compare yourself to the Sewing Report. You can't do that, because guess what? You're not them. And it's really tough as someone that is literally going through this problem to where they bought the book and I'm reading it because I'm suffering from this issue. I can tell you it's not easy, but you gotta get through it because you're different, right? I'm gonna go to YouTube. I'm gonna look up Auntie Tay because I want to see how long she's been on YouTube.
it's that too. It's a lot of people are vetted professionals in a lot of these spaces.
She's got
And
1,000 videos.
you also may not have ever been an influencer up until not too long ago in your industry, but you also now come in with a bunch of expertise that people want to watch. So again, like, if you want to be an influencer, be an influencer. But if
Yep.
you're a maker who's selling stuff, be the maker who's selling stuff. Neither of those is more valuable than the other.
To go back on to the... Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, go
make
ahead.
the choice. Just make the choice, like, try it. And if one doesn't work, do the other, like, just give it a shot.
Auntie Tay has been making videos for 11 years. Like, long-term making videos for 7 years. You know what? If you have a goal to get where she is in 7 years, I think that's a great goal. But don't think you can get to where she is in 7 days, or 7 weeks, or 7 months. Because statistically speaking, it's really tough to do. And we don't want to see more people fall out of... I don't know the right word, but like kind of fall out of the industry because they don't feel like they're good enough, or they don't feel like they can do it. Because that's not what we want. And like, she's got 335,000 subscribers. Her average views are somewhere between 5,000 and 3,000. She's got a couple that are a little low, which is interesting too. But, understanding how that content works is very, very important. She's got her own line of stuff. So she said, okay, I've got enough viewers. I'm going to branch out. I'm going to vertically integrate. We're going to look at different things. That's a big deal. But don't start doing that stuff now. Know what you can do and don't go beyond it. If you want to push yourself, that's great. That's awesome. But Don't push yourself to the point where it's really starting to affect your personal relationships. Take it from someone that has this problem. I work so damn hard it affects my personal relationships. That's why a lot of you that might be watching, it's like, why the hell haven't we heard from him? It's because I'm working. The answer is because I'm working, and I just don't want to reach out to people at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm finally going to bed. So understand your limits. Understand the amount of time that you have and maximize that amount of time. But another thing that you can do is looking at adding things. So if you've got a lot of competition, how can you look different? You can do things like adding 3D printers. And if you're wondering, what the hell 3D printer should I get? Hopefully that video is posted by now. We never really know when we release the podcast. Maybe we'll do it on Tuesday this time. So last week it was Thursday. But we're hoping to have that first what 3D printer to buy video coming out on Monday. So you guys can take a look at where we think are some decent 3D printers under $1,000. Because we know a lot of people out there don't have a ton of money to spend. And you can't get 25 3D printers overnight. Spoiler alert. It's such a tough word for me to say, and I don't know why. We started with one printer. We made a deal with a local company to get 6 printers in exchange for letting them use our address. And that's how we grew. Now we don't do that anymore. We actually don't associate with them anymore. There was a falling out. Still don't know why it occurred, but there was a falling out. But understand what you're getting yourself into whenever you work with other people as well. And, don't think that you're going to get crazy success overnight. You might find something that hits. I mean, I remember us with the fidget spinners. We needed like 1,900 more printers because we were making them as quick as we could sell them. And, like 4 weeks later, that died out. And that was great because we made everything to order. We had very little inventory. And it cost us nothing. Big businesses are still trying to sell out their inventory from years ago. So find the trends. If you can adapt to them so that you can ride those waves. Make yourself look better with better photos of your products, better, behind the scenes stuff. I love behind the scenes stuff. So behind the scenes stuff. And you know what? If you have a website, we want you to comment it down below so we can see it, and I'm happy to give you guys some tips as to what I see from someone that does not know your business. Doesn't need to know your business, but we can look at it and say, here's what we might recommend, or no, we love this, we want to show it off.
If you guys have existing businesses already or Etsy stores, drop them in the comments. Seriously. So that we can spread some love. Yeah,
it takes you 2 seconds to comment, and other than the ones that are clearly spam, because we always get spam comments, we're going to leave them all up there. I'm going to like every one of them so they get, so that they get promoted. And, we want to see your guys' websites. And you know what? F it. I'll choose a couple of you. If you want to come on the live stream that we're going to be doing, you can come on the live stream. Hang out, talk about what you do while I am pimping out my cane. So the first live stream is going to be all about the cane and starting 3D modeling work. We might, let's do the cane first. There's one that a subscriber gave us an idea for, and we're still trying to work out that logistics because I want that subscriber that gave us the idea for this to be on the call the entire time because it might be like a half-hour live stream. It won't be too long. But, a way that you guys can see how stuff works, and it's going to be pretty cool. This is going to be like intros that you can follow along right at home. But yeah, I like it. I want to see more people leveling up what they're doing, turning these hobbies into small businesses. I want to see more people paying taxes, which I know sounds, wait, why the hell would I want to pay taxes? Because you're making profit. That's why you're paying taxes. You're paying taxes because you're making profit. I guess this is considered supplementary income. If you have a business, it is taxed differently. We are not tax professionals. The first thing we did when we opened up 3D Musketeers is we hired an accountant. I am not good with that kind of thing. Get an accountant. If you're not good at certain things, find other people to help you. If you're not good with writing a contract, hire a lawyer to get that contract or try to find one online. If you're not good with marketing and you have the budget, find someone that can help you with marketing. I'm sure there are people local to you that can help with that. Do not ever be afraid to ask for help. It's the toughest thing to do because you have to admit that you can't do it on your own. And I'm taking off the glasses so I can look at the camera and the damn lights don't reflect in the glasses. It pisses me off when that happens. I gotta get a film for these that's anti-glare, but just because you can't do it yourself doesn't mean you're a failure. I've had this problem for many years where it's been me doing everything. And look what happens as soon as we bring on more people. Our marketing goes from here to here. Without the team that we had, we probably would have never touched cricket because, well, it's not our industry. But you know what? It's important. Without Thomas, we would have never had the new logo. We probably would have never had the podcast. We would have never had the name that looks better and looks the way that it should. Having a team is important, but know when it's time. We're on year 6. So we made it through the first 5 years. And understand the first 5 years are the hardest. They tell you the first thing in business school. 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Year 5 for us was freaking COVID. We made it through that. We barely made it through. And if I took a salary, my time would be worth less than $1 an hour. But we made it. And that's ultimately what matters. Keep plugging away because you can do it. And if you need help or you want some advice, reach out to us. Our information will be in the description here. I'm willing to donate my time to help you all that really want to take this stuff seriously, take it to that next level. I've learned a lot along the way. Thomas knows a lot. And I've learned a lot from Thomas. If Thomas is involved, you got to pay for Thomas's time. But I'm willing to donate some of my time. Because I can say as the business owner, I'm willing to donate some of my time. To help you all out. The ones that want to take this shit seriously. That want to go to this next level. That want to do better. And create a future for themselves. For their family. For their kids. For their kids' kids. And their kids' 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 kids. Because as much as we may look at people that have succeeded because of money from their parents or money from a family trust, and we say, well, you know, are they really working hard? They may not be, but somebody down the road did. And that's important. And a lot of it requires a change in thinking and say, it's not just about what I'm doing. It's not just about how I'm doing it. It's about me too. And if you look at that and say it's about me too, and you start showing off your work, so let's say you're doing vinyl cutting or you're making stickers and put them on your water bottle, sticker bomb a water bottle, and I want to see weekly photos of all the new stickers on your water bottle, and then I want to see you give it away when it's full of stickers. Because that's the way that you build people. I want to see you doing things that challenge everybody else around you. I want to see you differentiating yourself. I want to see you incorporating. I want to see it in the comments that you are making awesome. Because that's what you do. You might not know it. I guess this is a good time for us to also say, keep a good eye on your mental health. The imposter syndrome specifically will eat away at you. Take it from someone who knows this. The imposter syndrome will eat away at you and you won't realize it. You know, we're comparing ourselves to channels like Linus Tech Tips, which has 13 million subscribers. They make 800 subscribers in a day, and that's a slow day for them. We made 800 in a week, and we double down hardcore. So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to have goals. Keep them real. But also don't be afraid to ask for help. I want to mention, because this is going to happen, we just don't know when. We're going to bring on a professional doctorate therapist. Someone who, a psychologist really is the right term, so I apologize, psychologist. to talk about this because burnout is real. The imposter syndrome is real. And all of this shit eats at you. And we want you to know that you can do it. But some days you just got to say, F it, I need some time. Or I just got to buckle down and keep going. Right? I mean, Thomas, you know this. The imposter syndrome, burnout. I mean, dude, how many times have we all collectively had burnouts in the past 6 months?
Oh, plenty. I mean, especially when you're running your own.
Yeah, I don't want to discuss how many burnouts I'm having a week right now. It's more than I care to personally admit. Because it's vulnerability that I'm not willing to take at this point. I've taken a lot of vulnerability right now, okay? By just doing these videos, I've taken a lot of vulnerability.
My quick tip for keeping yourself going and productive, just reward yourself.
Yep.
Do something nice for yourself.
Treat yourself.
Because if you're your own boss, you're the only one that can do that.
Yep.
No one else is going to reward you for what you're doing. So,
that first big order, go out to dinner.
Yeah, spend your money. Like, why not? I mean, like,
save some.
Clearly, well, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying. Clearly, save some. Whatever. But like, you earned it. Spend it. It's yours.
Amen.
And you did it because you worked hard for it. Don't feel bad about it. I mean, try not to. Just don't. Go get a drink, man.
You probably earned it. You probably should be.
Probably.
Don't drink too much. Good Lord, small business drives people to drinking. I understand more than I care to admit why the Wolf of Wall Street happened and why they took so many drugs, because it's the only way that you can get through a lot of this crap. Me, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs. I literally drink water. I'm surviving on hopes, dreams, and a very thinly veiled amount of mental health. But seriously, keep track of it. Keep a diary, keep a notebook. Treat yourself, right? You gotta do it. You gotta do it. I remember the day that we became net profitable. Thomas, you weren't a part of the company at that time. I messaged everyone that was part of the company, said, I want you to go out, I want you to have a drink, and I want you to bill me for it. Because it is because of all of you that we got here. We almost made money last month, which is amazing. Amazing that we almost made money last month. We lost money. It wasn't a lot. We almost made money. But it's because of the team, right? It's because of the team that we get there. And if you have a team, thank them too. Force them to treat themselves, even if you pay for it. Because it's important. Anyways, I don't know what else, man. I
think that was a good little inspirational. It kind of shifted into like a pep talk, which I think is good.
I mean, we all kind of need it. I need it.
Yeah, I mean, like
shit, it's been so tough lately.
At the end of the day, just do it. And even if you don't want to monetize your hobby and you find that out, stop. Don't feel the need to monetize it.
If you want to keep it as a hobby, that's totally fine. We are not here to shit on people that say, I don't want to go any further with this.
Yeah, that's just totally be a hobbyist. Legit. And you should love that and keep it close, because that's just as valuable as turning something into a business.
Yep.
But
if you want that help,
mm-hmm.
and you want to do better, and you want to keep going, we want to help you.
And even if you're a hobbyist who wants to make some scratch on the side,
hey,
just kind of same deal. If you need help with that,
having a little bit extra for some beer money is never gonna hurt people. Or, I guess, wine money, or diaper
the money.
Good Lord,
the money that I made off of stickers was not a lot, but it was enough for me to buy a video game. And that was enough for me to say, okay, that was worth it.
You can motivate your kids, you can motivate your kids to help out. Because child labor's free if they're your damn kids. It's like paying rent, but for children.
Well, it's free except for feeding, housing, schooling.
No. Them helping you. You don't have to pay them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, keeping a child alive, I feel like is paying the child.
Yes, that's
There's an expense to having children
But like, don't be afraid to get your kids involved in this, right? Don't be afraid to have them help you pack a box, right? And that's a cool video to say, hey, I've got my lead helper here. That's like why I've shifted the camera to have the cat bed in it, because every now and then my cat jumps up in the bed and hangs out. Why? Because it's cool for marketing. Okay, she's afraid of this bed right now because she fell out of it. But, you know, that's the kind of stuff that you do, right? So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And we're here to help you. This is what we want to do. We want to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. We want to help you make awesome. That's why the podcast is called the Making Awesome Podcast. Terrible for branding. Great for the name. Because you can't find us by searching Making Awesome Podcast, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, I think we covered what we needed to cover. I think we covered kind of the ins, the outs, the goods, the bads, the uglies, the shitties, the heroics, and everything in between. So if you like this episode, let us know in the comments down below. And if you watch this far, or listen this far, we want to say, where's Victoria? I don't know.
Yeah, say where's Victoria. If you got this far in the podcast and you say where's Victoria, that would be great.
Yep.
Just so we know who's really listening.
Yeah, last time no one commented. But funny, someone that had to have listened to that at least did comment. So I don't know. Nonetheless. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed it. This one was an off the cuff one. We wanted to talk about it because we've been referencing a lot of small business lately, so we wanted to kind of talk about it. So yeah, I guess take care. Call your loved ones. You know, God, just keep making awesome. You know, chapter 31, freaking small business.
Woo!
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye, guys.